Maxie, and you're watching WGS-TV.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, welcome to another installment of WGS-TV right here on YouTube.com/WrestleGamer and ZFX-TV. I know being able to got a couple of guys to introduce you to first. First off, he is the host of Hardcore Wrestling Radio over on Spreaker.com. He is the illuminous one, the shining star, Rick Starr. Rick, how you shining tonight?
I'm shining pretty good, Billy. Thanks a lot.
From YouTube.com/KillerXKenny, the man from South Park, simply known as Cartman. Cartman, what's up?
Not much. Just wish my goddamn computer would actually work for once in its fucking life.
Wow, not even a minute into the video, already got an F-bomb being dropped. But anywho, we're talking about Impact Wrestling for the week of May 9th, 2013. We open up the show where, of course, the big featured matchup on this week's Impact Wrestling was a big six-man tag. It was Bully Ray, Devon, and Mr. Anderson of Aces and Eights taking on Sting, Kurt Angle, and at that time, at the opening segment, they were hoping for AJ Styles. Now, the whole point of the opening segment, they brought AJ Styles out. They're trying to determine, on whose side is he on. And of course, Kurt Angle, was taking the aggressive approach. Sting was trying to take the approach, saying that, I've been in your shoes. I've been up in the rafters. But you need to be here with the fans, and, this is the house where AJ built, that you need to be here, and AJ still turned away. Apparently, Kurt Angle got pissed about that and went up to the stage, and next, they started trading blows, and then while that was happening, out from nowhere comes, of course, Aces and Eights in the form of Team 3D, and we see a 3D on Sting. First time we've actually seen a 3D in quite some time in TNA. I want to say maybe about a year and a half to 2 years almost since we've seen Team 3D actually execute that maneuver, but looks like they can still pull it off just as well. And it was very interesting at that time to see where they were going to go. If AJ Styles wasn't going to be the partner of Sting and Kurt Angle, just who was it going to be? That's the question that we're all thinking at that time. I'm going to give the opening segment a 4 out of 5. I thought it was very well done. TNA really starting to come together with this new storyline of TNA versus Aces and Eights. For the longest time, this kind of been dull and dreary and kind of bland. But it looks like they're trying to revitalize it in a sense, and they're trying to give it some life with this, unique storyline. So I have to give it a 4 out of 5. Rick, let's look towards the opening match, which saw Velvet Sky and Mickie James taking on Gail, Kim, and Tara. Two things that were brought to my attention in this one is the fact that Jesse came back out with Tara. I thought that gimmick was done. And two, we all heard about Velvet Sky's knee issues. Did those knee issues, were they present in this match? Did you notice anything about Velvet Sky that would kind of linger towards a knee injury?
No, she seemed to, at least for me, she seemed to wrestle pretty good fashion. Not even that, she did seem to get the victory. Hello?
Yes, you're still here.
Oh, okay. I thought somebody might have dropped on maybe. Anyways, no, she seemed to win got the finisher, and she got the win, no problem. So that's not the only thing. I noticed that at the end of the match, we saw Gail, Kim, and Tara kind of get into a bit of a scuff.
Yeah, and it kind of ended with Gail Kim giving Tara the figure 4 around the ring post.
Yeah, now, usually that means that one of them's going to turn, and I'm guessing, if you could take a pick, who would you pick?
I have to pick the person that was on the victim, the victim's side of it, because normally the heel would kind of be the aggressor, and Gail Kim was definitely the aggressor in this part of the scuffle, especially when you're putting a figure 4 leg lock around the ring post on someone apparently you dislike, and apparently in this instance it's Tara. So I gotta figure that Tara possibly a face turn. We're not saying 100% definite, but possibly a face turn for Tara, just based on what we saw, and possibly the start of a feud now between Gail Kim and Tara. What would you score the match?
I think the match was not too bad. It wasn't definitely as dry as it was last week. So I'll give it a 3.5.
Yeah, we did lose someone. We did lose Cartman. If you could try to bring him back here as we get set into this next one. Now this whole next segment started backstage with DLo Brown. Now if you guys remember from last week when Kurt Angle and DLo Brown had their match, it was an I Quit match. Now DLo Brown, of course, being trapped in an ankle lock, said I quit. So apparently now Bully Ray and the other members of Aces and Eights are not very happy about that DLo actually said those words. So they brought him into the ring to handle this segment, and they basically stripped DLo Brown of his rank as a VP, and if you wanted to earn back his colors, you had to stay there in ringside and make sure that, I believe it was Doc, yes, it was Doc, would win his match. Now, let's get into this match that happened between Magnus and Doc. Magnus looked in phenomenal shape, I must say, and he's been really looking good. He's really been on a hot streak, as it were, in TNA. But of course, they were having Doc being the overbearing heel, the powering heel, and at one point, DLo tried interfering in the match. Especially when Magnus was on the outside, they tried to shoot him into the steel steps, but Magnus reversed it. Now, the finish of the match came. Apparently, DLo wasn't looking, and he was doing the old hook the leg thing, and he thought he was hooking the leg of Magnus, when it turns out he was really hooking the leg of Doc, which then came just a quick roll up. Magnus gets the victory and puts DLo in a whole world of trouble with the whole Aces and Eights gimmick. Overall, I'm going to give this a combined score. I'm going to go 3.5 out of 5. I thought it was somewhat decent. I wouldn't put it on a 4-star level, but it was still, somewhat decent. I wouldn't call it bad, is what I'm saying. I wouldn't call it bad, but I wouldn't put it at a 4-star level. Now, Rick, throughout the night, well, as Cartman's back here, Cartman, I hope everything is... Yeah,
I just had to read Peter.
Well, Cartman, throughout the night, we've seen both Bad Influence and Bobby Roode and Austin Aries trying to suck up, as it were, to Cowboy Jane Storm, being that he is the official in their #1 contenders match for the tag team titles. Now, we're leading into this match. One thing we want to make note is there was a little bit of a botch by Christy Hemme. I really don't know why she was introing Bad Influence when it was actually Bobby Roode and Austin Aries that was coming out first.
That kind of.
I mean, yeah, that was kind of a weird thing to see. Normally, we don't see that kind of a mistake by Christy Hemme. I don't know if she was given the wrong intro order, because sometimes they give you the intro order of who's coming out first, and I don't know if they had either gave her the wrong card, or if they gave her the wrong order. But yeah, she introed Bad Influence when it was Bobby Roode and Austin Aries that was supposed to be coming out first. It's not an everyday mistake we see out of your ring announcers, but. On to this #1 contenders match, Cartman. Do we now have new #1 contenders for the tag team championship?
No, and because it was actually a fairly good match until James Storm just super kicked Kazarian and Bobby Roode. Or was it Austin Aries? I can't remember. I wasn't paying much attention, but I think it was yeah, he just super kicked Kazarian.
Actually, no, what had happened? It was Daniels.
Yes,
okay,
it was Daniels first. Yeah.
Okay, it was Daniels and somebody from
Austin
Aries and Roode.
It was
Aries. Oh yeah, I'm failing to remember it right now.
Yeah,
Sorry.
well, this is what happened. He basically had super kicked. He went to actually go kick Aries, but Daniels got in the way. Aries went to pin, go quick pin. And then Storm's like, okay, I'm going to do this. He 1-2, gets back up, and then that's when pretty much the whole match went to shit. And as the two just started, fighting, going to hell, Storm's like, fuck this. I'm off, and I'm out of here. And he just left, and the match just was pretty much... What happens when the referee walks out?
Match gets thrown out?
Yeah, but I really don't know if I agree with that decision. The fact of just having your #1 contenders match just end in a no contest. I mean, I really
Either they're setting up a triple threat match, maybe.
Exactly, that's what I'm guessing.
Possibly,
Yeah.
possibly, but what would you score the match, Cartman?
I'd say probably a 4 out of 5. I think it was a fairly decent match.
Now, we now know that next week on Impact Wrestling, the X Division title is on the line. Kenny King defending against Little Petey Pump, or the Canadian Destroyer, Petey Williams, and the returning Chris Sabin. We saw the return of Chris Sabin last week, which was one of the bright points of Impact Wrestling, Rick, if I do say so myself. But now we get Kenny King in this segment, bringing out Chris Sabin. What exactly happened in this segment?
Well, Kenny King tried to come out, and he was trying to appear like a face. He was saying, "Let's bring us Chris Sabin and give him applause for all that he's gone through the past year and a half." And even Chris Sabin's kind of walking out like, "All right, what the hell is going on?" Because this is not like Kenny King, because Kenny King's pretty fake, and he was acting like a fake heel. It was like very, very transparent. Because we've seen all the movie packages and we've seen everything, and we know what you've gone through. And then he hands him the title, goes, "Let's take some pictures together." And then all of a sudden, instantly, he flips. He goes, "Now I want you to hold on to it, because that's the last time you're gonna hold on to it, and this and that. Now give me my title back. Give it back to me." Well, he got the title back, but he didn't just get it handed right back to him. Sabin handed it right back to him with a good, left hand, left hook, and knocked him right out of the ring. And I think Sabin, that was his way of letting him know that he's going to get that X Division title back.
Well, one would think the purpose of this segment was really to put put some heat on Kenny King, him being the heel and being the defending champion. So, if they had any kind of a purpose to using this segment other than a filler, then to me, honestly, it would be to put more heat on Kenny King. Wouldn't you agree, Rick?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, the guy, that's the only way. I mean, I really don't care for the type of character that he has, but yeah, it really worked. It worked well. You could tell that the fans were kind of like not buying it, but once he flipped on the heel, they really did not like what he did. But once Sabin kind of came over as the big face and knocked him out of the ring, he got a huge pop for it, and it worked. It worked well.
Well, let's get to the main event now. All night long, they've been trying to find a sixth person. They started out with AJ Styles, and that didn't pan out. Now, then they wanted to go with Magnus, Sting and Kurt Angle, because he said Magnus was hot, he's fresh, he wants at it with Aces and Eights, and of course Aces and Eights during the night, they actually ganged up on Magnus and took him out. Now Hulk Hogan then says to Kurt Angle and Sting that he has a wild card. He's going to be a little bit late, but he is going to be there, and he's going to come there to back up Sting and Kurt Angle.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. I didn't mean to. It slipped. I apologize, but yeah, apparently tonight was the return of Abyss. And by the way, if you're watching this after not watching Impact Wrestling, then what the hell are you doing? But anyway, yeah, because we're basically assuming you guys watched Impact Wrestling already. But anyway, we have Bully Ray, Devon, and Mr. Anderson, and Kurt Angle and Sting at that moment. Then we pan to the back, and we see four members of Aces and Eights at that time getting taken out. Now, of course, I did let it slip. I didn't mean to, but yeah, it was Abyss. But Rick, at that time, we were throwing out names like Jeff Jarrett, Jeff Hardy. Who else we were thinking of? Maybe RVD at one point.
We did, believe it or not, we did talk about Abyss once or twice. The name did come up.
Yes, Abyss's name did come up.
I think we also did talk about Suicide. Suicide was the top name that we had picked up because there had been rumors
they cut a promo for him earlier.
So, and we were like, Suicide, really? I mean, it doesn't make sense. And for me, it kind of didn't make sense because it's like, why would they have somebody so small try to have come in and make such an impact? And I didn't buy it. I'm like, it's got to be somebody, a big name player, or somebody who's going to do some kind of damage. And it was the latter. I mean, don't get me wrong. Abyss has been a world champion where, I'm sorry, the Joseph Parks name has gone nowhere. He's done nothing. And it's kind of like a Mick Foley type deal.
Yeah, comic relief at best.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to just say right off the bat, Mick Foley's alternate characters, all of his characters have sold. The Joseph Park character has not worked.
No,
No.
not the slightest bit.
So I feel as a TNA fan that is somewhat of a relief that they actually brought him back as Abyss, and possibly maybe seeing the end of the Joseph Park character. Now we can see him in
I
in
hope.
better quality matches. We don't have to see him running around acting like an idiot and trying to get some laughs and try to pretend to be this lawyer character that he's not. So, but maybe I don't want to say they could possibly keep both characters if TNA wanted to play it both ways. I said both ways, but
Giggity.
but I really don't see any point to keeping Joseph Park around when you have the more prominently known Abyss character there. I mean, I really just don't see it. But the finish of the match came with, of course, Abyss coming in, cleaning house, kicking ass, and then he gives, I believe it was Devon, the Black Hole Slam, and gets the victory for his team. So,
Yeah.
the main event is going to get a 4 out of 5 from me. Now, at that point, it was just 3.5 out of 5, but with the appearance of Abyss and the kind of the shock value of the return, I say in quotation marks, of Abyss, it just really added to it. And I believe the crowd got really excited, got pumped up, they were into it. So that's always a plus when you start getting your crowd into not only your main event but the return of a prominently known character such as Abyss. Overall score on Impact Wrestling this week, I'm gonna go. I don't want to go 4 out of 5, but it was very much a lot better than last week's Impact Wrestling, to say the least. 3.75 out of 5. I'm going to give it the latter. 3.75 out of 5. The opening segment I thought was very decent. Especially a good way to set up the main event. With Velvet Sky, Mickie James, Gail, Kim, and Tara, it was good to see the Velvet Sky not suffering any lingering issues as it pertains to her knee. We've seen so many wrestlers' careers and they're cut short all because of knee issues and knee problems. And maybe a face turn for Tara in the making, with Gail Kim assaulting Tara and giving her the figure 4 leg lock around the ring post. DLo Brown getting stripped of his rank was really not not a surprise to me, but the match you had with Magnus and Doc, Rick, I remember you were saying at that time that you were thinking that we were going to give DLo Brown his colors back, but I'll let you speak on that when we get to it. Bad Influence versus Bobby Roode and Austin Aries with a no contest. Yeah, a triple threat tag team title match could be good. It just depends on the way they work it. But but at that time, I just really didn't agree with the fact that they had a no contest in your number 1 contenders match. Kenny King and the Chris Sabin segment, I thought was really well done. Kenny King really coming along, not only as a heel character, but his mic skills are really getting good. And Chris Sabin never missed a step. It was good to see him still having that same good quality mic skills that he's always had. And I believe the real purpose of the segment was to not only promote the X Division title match for next week, but the fact that they really wanted to put more heat on Kenny King. So. Then, of course, we had the main event: Sting, Kurt Angle, and Abyss defeating Bully Ray, Devon, and Mr. Anderson. The shocking return of Abyss was the big seller on this one. So I thought it was very good. It was a very good main event. Nice to see the Abyss character back in TNA. So maybe now TNA can move on and maybe do some bigger and better things. Rick, my overall score is
I
a
hate
3.
moving Joseph Park.
Well, my overall score, Rick, is a 3.75 out of 5. What about you? What's your overall score and thoughts?
Well, I have to agree with you for the most part on that. I wouldn't say it's 3.75. It was definitely a better impact than last week. I think last week I gave it a 3. I'd probably have to give it about a half a notch, about 3.5. They definitely are making some improvements, although it was still had some dry spots. I think they definitely need to do something with the aces and eights. Hopefully, they are weaning it out with getting rid of the vice president. Right now, he's got booted down to a prospect, so hopefully that's a sign that they are going to start weaning things out. Hopefully now with the Bound for Glory series starting up in the next couple of weeks, which I'm really, really looking forward to, because I've always looked forward for the Bound for Glory series. With the AJ Styles storyline, hopefully again he has a turnabout, because that's getting dry. So So we need to start making these stories really have some kind of progress, because they're not having any progress. They're getting stalled out. When things get stalled out, they get boring. So other than that, the matches themselves were really, really good. So yeah, just 3.5.
And unlike last week, we weren't finding ourselves falling asleep during the knockouts match.
No, not at all.
Cartman, what about you? Your overall score and thoughts?
Yeah, I was gonna say about the same thing, about a 3.5. Somewhat decent. There was a lot of spots that could have been improved. I'm just gonna say that much right off the bat. A lot of stuff that could have been improved, but unfortunately it was not.
All right,
Like the whole knockouts match. The knockouts match could have been a lot better than what it was.
well, last week's knockouts match was putting me and Rick to sleep.
Yeah, I was about ready to take a nap.
Not
That
this
was
week,
boring as hell last week.
but not this week.
No, this week was pretty good, but still could be better.
All right, well, what we want to know now from you guys out there, the viewers and subscribers, your thoughts on Impact Wrestling this week. Be sure to put your comments in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and favorite this video. Guys, Rick Starr is over on Hardcore Wrestling Radio. Rick, where can the fans check you out?
Of course, we know we have our Facebook page. And of course, all of our shows are on Spreaker.com. That's Spreaker.com/HWR Media.
Cartman is over on YouTube.com/KillerXKenny. Cartman, what you got going on over in your neck of the woods?
Still trying to figure that one out. Probably some MW2 PC stuff coming up soon. Looking for that somewhat soon. Other than that, I don't quite know yet.
Also, don't forget to please subscribe to YouTube.com/WrestleGamer and YouTube.com/ZFXTV Network. So for the illuminous one, the shining star, Rick Starr, and the man from South Park, simply known as Cartman, I'm Double B Billy Boudreaux, saying thank you very much for watching.
Stoke answers. Stoke answers. Stoke answers. Stoke answers. Spiritual speaking. Stoke answers. Stoke answers. I'm Haley. Ring Rose. Stoke answers.
My name's Andrew Weatherall.
Spiritual speaking. Stoke answers.